I've got a question for you, Chip. We've seen our industry kind of evolve into a different direction over the past couple of years with some things that's been going on. Obviously, we know what we're talking about. But how has the buyers, how has your buyer evolved or changed over the past 3 to 5 years? Have you seen a difference in your buyers as well?
Yes, we have. The market changed much faster than the buyers did, but the buyers had to make that adjustment. We internally had to make that adjustment that things move at a much different pace. It is literally like waiting on a tornado, and then when the tornado comes, you better take shelter immediately.
Yeah, everything seems very fluid right now.
Yeah,
I mean, you just have to be able to move and adjust.
So our clients find themselves in a position where they're waiting and waiting and waiting for us to find an aircraft because inventory is so scarce. But then when we do, we have to jump into gear and move immediately and get it bought before someone else does. So it's very different than it was just a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I agree.
And on that point, where it wasn't like this 3 to 5 years ago, with where the inventory sits now and what's available, having somebody wait and wait and wait, and when something becomes available, the decision needs to be made right now.
Yeah.
If not, 5 other people are waiting for that same airplane.
Exactly. Yeah. It creates a whole new dynamic, and it also is where we come in to make sure that our client doesn't make a mistake, because when we refer to that and what happened, especially in the last quarter of 2021, is a feeding frenzy. So people can get caught up in the emotion of buying an aircraft and having competition for that aircraft and end up paying way too much for it because they fell victim to this feeding frenzy. So we try to educate them on the market. We understand the realities of the market and that the values have gone up a lot in the last 12, 14 months. But that doesn't mean you need to pay stupid price. So we try to calm people down. Let's not get carried away here. Inventory scarce, but there will be another airplane. Let's pass on this one. Let some other guy that doesn't know any better pay that much for that.
Yeah, you are going to live with this plane, so let's make it right the first time.
So when you refer to escalating prices over the past year and a half, what are you seeing typically from values of aircraft?
There's not a percentage that works, so it's hard to answer the question in that sense, because a $1 million airplane, a 10% increase is very different than a 10% increase on a $10 million airplane. So we typically, as rudimentary as it sounds, we have to think in terms of hundreds of thousands of dollars increase. And in the King airline, overall we're seeing about a $400,000 or $500,000 per unit increase over what those same airplanes cost, 16 months ago, back when things originally started to heat up. We are seeing some outliers of that. The King Air 350 market is a very interesting market because it was really bad during 2020. When everything else started to accelerate in the spring of 2021, the King Air 350 lagged behind. I was actually encouraging clients at that time to buy King Air 350s because they represented a value. Now that airplane is escalated, you're probably $600,000 or $800,000 on a sub $3 million airplane, and you're $1 million on airplanes that are north of that $3 million mark. And then I don't know a better way to refer to it, but I use 2 terms: market price and stupid price. And there is market price, which is what you're going to have to pay to get an airplane bought, but then there's stupid price, especially at the end of last year with bonus depreciation being a factor. When a guy can write off hundreds of thousands of dollars off of his tax bill by buying an aircraft, he's willing to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars over what he should, because he'd literally rather give that money to a fellow aviator than he would the IRS.
Yeah, we see the tax issue driving a lot of things in our industry that you wouldn't consider, but it does, it affects it.
Yes, it is.